right, so let's talk about how to ace the Vue.js certification exam. First off, I do just want to take a quick moment to introduce myself and just say, hey, my name is Daniel, and I am super glad to be here with you. I am the lead instructor over at Vue School, but maybe more importantly for this talk, I also played a very heavy hand in the creation of the Vue certification. And so I think I have a decent insight into what it takes to ace the Vue certification exam. All right, so I want you to help me with a quick little survey before we start. Go ahead and scan this QR code if you would, or visit vue-cert-survey.netlify.app. So I hope this works. I created this little app with AI this morning before I manned the booth outside. Took me about 20 minutes to do, all thanks to bolt.new. Super, super cool way to generate applications that I've been playing with recently. And look, it's working. Y'all are voting. This is great. Okay, so we've got 9 votes for not interested in the Vue certification, 9 votes for what is the Vue.js certification, 2 votes for planning, considering is 12 votes, 1 vote for I have taken the Vue.js certification. Interesting. Okay. Pretty cool for a little app generated by AI and even themed for me. I love it. Okay. So it looks like some people are kind of on the fence as to whether or not they actually want to take the Vue.js certification exam. Well, today I hope to bring you along and give you a little bit more information to help you be informed and better make that decision. So first of all, what is the Vue.js certification exam? Essentially, it's an online exam that we built at certificates.dev to help you validate and showcase your Vue.js skills, right? This was created in collaboration with Evan Yu, so we didn't just go rogue and make some exam and just think people should trust it. No, we actually ran this whole thing by Evan and partnered with him to make sure that we were providing good, relevant content to help you boost your Vue.js career, okay? Now, we'll look a little bit more at what the exam actually consists of in just a few minutes, but I want to first just give a few words from some of your fellow Vue developers out there in the world who have actually taken the exam and let you kind of see what they got out of it, okay? All right, so this is Dang Jenner from, he is the CTO at Webmaster Vietnam. This is what he says. He says, I understand more about Vue.js, about how Vue.js works, and know more about the techniques in Vue.js, and I probably should have put in quotation marks here, after studying for the Vue.js certification. Along those same lines, Emmanuel, he's a team manager over at Storyblock, says, I've been working with Vue for years, but every time I revisit the documentation, I learn something new. Preparing for the exam pushed me to read it thoroughly, which greatly enhanced my understanding of the framework. This is actually a very common sentiment that I hear from people when they talk about the Vue certification. They've been developing with Vue for several years or many years, and yet they still get something out of the exam. So number one, why take the exam? Well, to just simply increase your Vue.js knowledge and boost your skills. When you have a goal in front of you, like acing an exam, it's going to push you to study and consume the content, consume the knowledge that much more easily because you have an end goal in mind, right? So here is Aurelian, a tech expert at Smile. He says, it forced me to understand aspects I had previously overlooked because I didn't use them in my projects, even though they could have been quite useful. It's the classic problem. You don't know what you don't know, right? So why take the Vue.js exam? To fill in knowledge gaps you didn't even know you have. Eduardo, who created Pina, he's here at the conference here today. He says this certification serves as a valuable confirmation of one's Vue.js skills, enhancing professional profiles and fostering credibility when seeking new employment opportunities. Also, Israel, who is also here at this conference here today, by the way, also the founder of Vue Jobs. so might know a thing or two about what employers are looking for Vue developers. He says the Vue.js certification really helps candidates stand out from the crowd. It's proof that you have the skills to use Vue.js effectively and a must-have when applying for a Vue.js role. Okay, so why take the exam? Plain and simple, to increase your chances of securing your next Vue.js developer job, if that is the position you're in. Finally, just one more little testimonial before we move on. This is Janice Waller. He's the principal software engineer at Salesforce. He talks about, he says this line right here in the context of training his team, being in a position where he has to help other people on his team really kind of get up to speed with what's new in the world and what's going on in the development world. He says the exam helped us to narrow down that we are still going on the right track, that what we are guiding our devs to do is still in line with what the best practices are from the community. All right, so plain and simple, you should take the exam in order to increase your confidence in current skills and best practices. And maybe if you find out that you actually aren't up to date on those best practices or most modern practices, then you need to update what you're doing as a team. Okay? Of course, I'm not saying the exam is for everybody. I'm not putting these things on the screen to say you have to take the Vue.js certification. It's absolutely not for everyone. It's just not. Okay? Not everyone is going to find value in it. However, if you find yourself fitting in one of these categories, you might consider taking the exam. So you've decided you want to take the exam. What exactly does it actually look like? Well, there's 2 certification levels. All right, there's the mid-level Vue.js developer exam, and then there's the senior Vue.js developer exam. Both of these exams consist of 30 multiple choice questions and then 2 coding challenges. So we use the multiple choice questions to kind of gauge your understanding of both concepts and syntaxes, and then of course we give you the coding challenges to help you really engage in a real-world scenario and show that you're able to code with Vue. All right, so what kind of topics can you expect to face on the mid-level exam? Here is a list. You can find a list of all of these topics on our website, of course, but just to quickly go through them, we do talk about the very basics of creating a Vue application. What does it mean to mount it to the DOM? We talked about you're going to be tested on reactivity fundamentals, things like defining reactive data with the reactive function or the ref function, defining derived data with computed properties, template syntax, things like printing data as a text node, using vbind to add reactive data to an element attribute, right? All these things that are just absolutely fundamental to Vue.js development. I won't describe them all, but of course, event handling, form input, binding watchers, lifecycle hooks, and on down the list. The basics of what you need to know as a Vue developer, but then a few more next level things like template refs or transitions and slots, okay? Vue router here, you don't necessarily have to know in depth, but you do have to know the basics of how to use it. Ecosystem, all this means is that you're familiar with some of the tools in the ecosystem, such as Vuetify or Nuxt or Pina, and you kind of have a high-level understanding of what they have to offer, okay? Now, the exam does focus on all of these concepts within the context of the composition API. It's just where we're at this point in time in the lifecycle of Vue, right? So it does focus on the composition API using script setup. If you are interested in taking the senior exam, it takes everything to one more level and helps test your knowledge on things that are really going to help you scale your application development, right? Things like writing custom composables in order to reuse custom stateful functionality. Things like testing with Vue test utils, understanding kind of how Vue works under the hood with render functions and the virtual DOM, okay? And a few other things as you can see on this list. Okay, so that's just me talking and telling you what it's like. let's get a taste of what it's actually like by trying out the official trial exam. Now, note the trial exam is an abbreviated version of the real exam. So the exam that we're going to take here together in just a moment is very short, okay? The real exam consists of 30 multiple choice questions, 2 coding challenges, and you have up to, I believe it's 135 minutes to complete the whole exam. Not everybody takes that long, but you have that much time if you'd like. I'm not going to sit up here and do the whole exam like that in front of you, but this trial exam, okay, is an abbreviated version. It'll give you a good feel, though, for what the platform looks like and what you can expect. And this trial exam, by the way, is included in the official training package. Okay, so let's open that up. And here I have clicked a button inside of the training program that just says Start Trial Exam. This is exactly what you'll see when you begin a new exam on the platform. It simply tells you kind of what to expect, right? All the things that we just talked about. Well, you accept the terms and conditions, go ahead and get started, and then in the official exam, we're pretty thorough in terms of making sure you're certifying your skills. Not your neighbor's skills, not your best friend developer's skills, not whoever skills you paid for in order to help you cheat on the exam. Like, no. Okay, we're pretty thorough in making sure we are truly certifying your skills, right? So we require you to do a number of different things. We monitor your environment with video, with your face, making sure you're not grabbing answers from somewhere else. We monitor your screen, we monitor your audio, make sure somebody's not yelling answers at you from across the room. Whatever the case may be, it's a serious environment because we want this to give confidence both to employers who are looking to hire Vue.js developers, but also to you, that when you hand this over to a potential employer, you can say, hey, look, this was proctored, this is legit, and it truly speaks to my skills, right? So there's a lot of things you have to do in order to kind of make sure that it's a fair examination process. Okay, once you go through that step in the official exam, it will go through a setup of your camera and things like that. That's not a part of the trial exam. But yeah, this gets the gist of most everything. Okay, so what do the multiple choice questions look like? The exam is divided into these 2 separate parts, and you will be timed separately for each part. So the multiple choice question portion on the real exam lasts 30 minutes. So you'll have 30 minutes to go through 30 multiple choice questions. They're simple in terms of, you've seen these kind of questions thousands of times, right? Using VHTML comes with some security risks and should be used cautiously. True or false? Anybody? True, all right. So it looks like we got some people who are already well underway to passing the exam. Is it possible to validate component event payloads at runtime? True or false? Can you validate event payloads at runtime? Anyone? Okay, interesting. So maybe some folks have something they could learn from the exam. The answer is true. You can validate event payloads. Given the following component definition and subsequent use, will the word submit render to the page? So we test you not only on concepts, we actually give you some code snippets in some of these multiple choice questions and get you to say what it's going to do. All right? Is the word submit going to render to the page here? No. Okay, exactly right, because you've provided content to that slot. Okay, we're not going to go through all of them together. So I'll just quickly click through some of these, and of course I'm probably going to fail because I'm not looking. I've done this literally thousands of times at this point, testing things over the time. Okay, excellent. So now at the end of the multiple choice portion of the exam, you will have the opportunity to review all of your answers. If you want to change any of your answers at this point, you absolutely can. Okay, submit this portion of the exam, and then you move on to the coding challenge portion of the exam. This is timed separately from the first portion. Since we've only got one coding challenge here, we're just led directly to the instructions for that coding challenge. All right, each coding challenge consists of an instructions page, an instructions document, where you can read about what you're actually needing to do in that challenge. And it will give you a list of requirements that you have to complete. Now, this one in particular is a bug challenge. Remember before I said there's always going to be one feature challenge where you develop a feature and one challenge where you fix some kind of bug, because we all have to pick up other people's code and read that code and fix things that they did wrong, right? It's always someone else. It's not me. Someone else made that bug. Okay, so this is one of those bug fixes. Usually at the end of these instructions, there will be some kind of screenshot kind of showing you what the expected output should be. So once you read through the instructions thoroughly, you are presented with a screen like this. We've got Stack Blitz embedded inside of the exam platform where you can code out the solution to this coding challenge. Now, a couple things to note here is you do have access to the Vue.js documentation during the exam, so you can look things up just like you probably would in real life, but we aren't opening things up to the world. Like, you can't open new tabs, you can't go ask ChatGPT. We still want to actually validate they're your skills, right? So we give you these limited resources that you can use, MDN and the Vue.js docs. Then you just code things out according to the instructions that you read on that previous page. You can open those instructions there, you can open them up in the README, whatever. You just fix the bug. Then, once you felt like the bug is fixed, you'll click Next, and you go on to a checklist that allows you to double check yourself. This checklist is actually very important. This is kind of how we grade your coding challenge. If we can tick off everything on this checklist that you've accomplished and you've done it successfully, then you're going to pass this coding challenge. So you need to be able to truthfully and honestly to yourself be able to check off all of these items, all right? So yes, I've done both of those things. One last chance, do you want to go back and review your coding challenges? No, already did that. So now I will send my exam. At this point, the exam comes to our review team. We have some automated things in place that help us grade it. We also do a manual review to make sure that you're getting a fair examination score, okay? After a max of 10 business days, it never takes that long. It's usually within the first day or two, you'll get your exam score back, and you'll be able to access your certification in the dashboard, right? Then you can share this with potential employers. You can, whatever you need to do with it to help verify your skills. Okay, so that's as simple as it is. It's really pretty straightforward. So how then can I prepare to take the Vue.js exam? Well, in order to understand what topics are going to be on the exam, you could fly to Toronto and sit here just like you are now, or you can log in online to the certificates.dev platform and just look at our prep guide. There's a full list of all the topics that we went over earlier on the website. Okay, each level has its own prep guide, the topics you saw earlier. And included in that prep guide is a list of links to pieces of the documentation that help you learn more about each of the topics. So that's exactly what you see in this screenshot here. This is exactly the prep guide that you have on the platform. Okay, taking things a step further, the prep guide, by the way, is included with all examination purchases, okay? But if you want to get a more, a more guided training experience that really dives deep, what you can do is buy the self-guided training package. And this allows you to have a chapter by chapter, lesson by lesson, increasing in difficulty way to study all the different topics. It's, in one way, it's kind of like the prep guide. It provides links to Vue documentation to help you learn about the actual topics, but it also goes further and provides quizzes to help you test your knowledge on those topics as you go, and exercises to help you practice the things that you just read about, okay? At the very end of the training, there's this really cool challenge roundup chapter that is just this nice little collection of apps you can build from scratch to challenge yourself. They mostly use all those topics that you learn throughout the the course there. And they're a lot of fun to do. The aquarium there is one of my particular favorites, mostly because I got to put one of my child's fish's names in there, and then I got to kill it off, which was just fun. And then the fish died a little later in real life, and it was sad. So that is the training. We also offer live boot camps. These are, they're not live in person, but they're live virtually. So an instructor like myself or some of my colleagues will essentially jump on a Zoom call kind of platform, and we'll walk you through the concepts that are on the exam, slide by slide, section by section, exercise by exercise. Not all the same exercises that are in the actual training, different ones, but all still covering the same topics. And you have the opportunity to raise your hand, ask questions, you know, and really get the best experience catered towards your learning needs. These consist of 3 5 to 6 hour live streaming sessions over the course of 6 weeks. Or excuse me, 3 weeks, I'm sorry. Okay, so when can I take the Vue.js certification? Anytime you want. It's all online. Probably not right now as you're sitting here in the auditorium. But it's totally on your own time. You don't have to, you know, schedule something. You don't have to go in somewhere. It's just in the comfort of your home or wherever you like to code, because we review things manually and we check the proctoring system for signs of cheatings and things like that. So it means you can do it all on your own time, which makes it super, super convenient. Okay, so how can I go and sign up for the Vue.js certification? Really simple, go to certificates.dev/Vue.js in order to get certified. You could also scan this QR code up here that is on the screen. And until the end of the month, until after Black Friday, we do have a 53% off promotion going on. This is if you purchase the mid-level and senior level exam as a bundle, you essentially get over half off that bundle. This lasts until November 29th, until the end of Black Friday. If you're only interested in the mid-level exam, that is currently a 35% off discount. All right, so now that you know a little bit more about the exam, I'd like to see your thoughts one more time. Maybe I'm kicking myself in the butt here just a little bit, but I kind of want to see. I just want to do this survey one more time, mostly because Bolt.new is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed making this little app. Let me reset the responses that I already got. Delete 40 rows, 40 people voted already, cool. No, that was from the last one. Okay. All right, so let's do it one more time. Go back to the page. Let's see if anybody is still considering or is just no longer interested after seeing this, or maybe they were less on the fence before and now they're more planning to take the exam. Who knows? I'm just kind of curious to see where this goes. All right, so what is the Vue.js certification? Is 1, we still have a few people just not interested. That's cool. A few people still considering. And okay, cool. Let's waiting just a moment, see if any more votes are going to come in. Okay, some people still considering. Planning. Awesome. All right. So, besides the Vue.js certification, we also have several other certificates available at certificates.dev. The 2 you might be most interested in are the JavaScript certification and the Nuxt certification. So just like we partnered with Evan for the Vue certification, we partnered with Sebastian and the Core Nuxt team for the Nuxt certification. So you can be assured that all of this stuff is approved by them as something that is both helpful, accurate, and up to date. Okay? We also have an Angular certification, which is great. Maybe not too many people interested about that here. All right, thank you all so very much for your time and attention. Really appreciate you being here. I would love to get to know you if I haven't already met you over at the booth, the Vue School booth by the men's bathroom, which is weird. But it was still one of the best spots, y'all. It's still great. But anyways, yeah, come by. I'd love to get to meet you. And if you have any questions about the Vue Cert, I'd be happy to answer those questions. Or just you want to shoot the breeze and talk about Vue, I am always happy to do that too. Or maybe most importantly, if you'd love to grab a t-shirt or some stickers, we still have plenty left. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Daniel. There's a lot of traffic by the bathroom.
There is a lot of traffic by the bathroom.
Right? We've got a couple minutes for a few questions if anybody wants to ask Daniel. Well, I've got one for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious. So I imagine you get a handful of questions for folks who are considering starting one of these, because it can be a big time investment. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you say to folks who are usually considering, should I do the Vue course? Should I do the next course, the Angular course? What advice do you give those folks?
So, I mean, obviously I'm partial to Vue myself over Angular anyways. So I would always start with Vue. If you are a complete Vue beginner, you can go through this training program and it starts from square one. So that's the nice thing about the self-guided training is if you are more advanced and you think you can skip a few sections, skip a few sections. That's up to you. But if you are ground level, then we have a starting place for you there, right? Then if you want to move on to Nuxt, definitely don't do Nuxt before you do Vue. Nuxt is Vue is a precursor to Nuxt for sure.
Wonderful. And then as folks make it through, are you helping them with the employment process? If they don't already have a job, is that part of it, or is it more just giving them some advice on how to take next steps after the course?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So we have tried to do a little bit of that at Vue School. And to be honest, we had an app, we had a service for it. I don't think it's really running all that much anymore. But no, we don't have a service to connect employers to these these people who have certified themselves at this point in time.
Just help them build up that foundation, build that confidence so they can get out there.
That's right, exactly right.
All right, love it. Well, thank you very much, Daniel. Another round of applause for Daniel.
Thanks, Sean.